Hi everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the absolute disaster, really, on paper, having looked at it, that is the GAA championship structure for 2023. They've made more changes. I'm just going to run through the changes that I don't like the look of so far anyway. And I'm going to talk through why I don't like them, the problems that I think is going to happen, and the problems and issues that I had with the championship structure last season. The first one that I wanted to talk about is that I genuinely felt watching the championship last season that like the GAA was almost in a rush to get the championship over with. There were two key examples that I want to talk about in this. Number one, the Munster hurling final between Clare and Limerick. That game was one of the best games of hurling that I have ever seen. Probably the best game of hurling that I've ever seen. The skill level, the determination of both teams emptied themselves onto the pitch that day. And the finale, Limerick 1 point up, Clare pushing, the whole stadium is rocking. Clare get that sideline. Tony Kelly unbelievably puts the ball over the bar from literally the corner flag on the sideline, and then it goes into extra time. Imagine if that was the last act of the Munster hurling final and they had to have a replay. Imagine if Tony Kelly had stuck that sideline over. One of the greatest games of hurling ever played now is going to a replay. The whole country would have been talking about it. The whole country would have been anticipating, tuning in for that replay. And it would have been great for the business of the GAA. It would have been great for the growth and expansion of the GAA. But the GAA, the way the structure was last season, it was, no, we need to have a winner today. So they're into the change rooms then for extra time. They come out and Limerick win in extra time. And that's it. All that hype, all that ability, to promote a Munster final replay is just gone because they were in a rush to get it over with. Then the second one, Galway against Armagh in the All-Ireland quarter-final of 2022. Again, a very similar situation. Armagh pulled Galway back from nowhere when it looked like they were dead and buried. And with the last kick of the game, Reno O'Neill nails an amazing free kick to level it up. And Armagh go in level at full time. And not only that, but there's a massive brawl as the two teams are running into the tunnel. Can you imagine if they had said, right, that's it, replay next week? Again, the whole country would have been tuning in to that replay, building up to that replay. What's going to happen? But the GAA, again, into extra time and then penalty shootout. Like, that's not the GAA, but they need to have a winner today because we've given ourselves literally 4 weeks to get 4 matches done. They didn't have left no flexibility with it, and they looked like they were just in a damn rush to get the whole championship over with as quick as possible, and it really annoyed me watching it. So that's the first thing I was irritated by the championship last season, and I think it's going to be exactly the same this season. The other thing is the leagues now are going to get absolutely undervalued based off what happened last season, particularly because of what happened to Waterford in the hurling. We saw that Waterford won the hurling league title last year, and everyone was saying, Waterford are serious contenders for the All-Ireland. If anybody's going to beat Limerick, it's Waterford. And they just had nothing left when it got to the championship. They had 2 weeks to rest from winning the league final to the championship, whereas Limerick completely took the league off. Clare completely took the league off. And those are the two teams that, if you look at it, really, Kilkenny were a bit hit and miss in the league as well. And those were the teams that absolutely smashed it when it came around to the championship. Waterford just didn't show up because they were so focused on the league, getting out and taking every game at 110%, that they just ran out of steam. They didn't have enough energy left to do it to the same level in the championship, especially when Limerick decided to turn up for the championship, having been fresh and just kind of tiptoed in to the championship and tiptoed into championship level, whereas Waterford had been doing it for weeks and weeks, and they just had nothing left in the tank. So I predict that next season, this league's absolutely nobody's going to put in 100% into these leagues next year, especially with what I'm about to get on with about the league finals not happening in the football, which is an absolute joke. But yeah, let's get into the structure. So in January, 21st and the 22nd are going to be the club semi-finals, and that's going to be the first action of the year. Then in the 28th and the 29th, the Allianz Leagues will begin. And at the same time, the college tournaments are going to be on. The Sigerson Cup is going to be on, and the Fitzgibbon Cup is going to be on. It's so simple to me. Just make a rule that if the college players are playing Sigerson and if they're playing Fitzgibbon, you don't play for your county. How many players, we're talking Tommy Conroy, Like, so many players got injured last year playing a Sigerson Cup game or playing a Fitzgibbon Cup game because they're playing for their club, they're playing for their county, and now they're playing for their college as well. Professional athletes don't do that because they know about the importance of recovery. They know about the importance of giving yourself time to come down after a match before going out and training again. Push these athletes to play in the college competitions to maintain the integrity of these competitions. Without, without degrading the leagues, obviously, it's going to be a hard one to balance. But I would say, look, if you're playing the Sigerson and if you're playing the Fitzgibbon, pick one. Pick between the league and the college tournaments. And then I would say, right, crack on with the leagues then. Regardless, we're going to have people crossing over and playing both again. In March, the under-20 championship begins on the 18th, and there are no football league finals. So the leagues begin. In April, there are the hurling league finals, and then the provincials in the football begin a week after those finals. So there's no football league final, which you think over the last few years, how many massive moments have happened in the football league final? We're thinking 2019, Mayo beating Kerry in Croke Park. How many teams have, won Division 2, won Division 3? You see how much it means to them. Louth even last year with Mickey Hart. Like, what an achievement that was. Roscommon, the great days they've had winning Division 2. Like, that's gone now because the GAA have packed this all so tightly together that now they actually have to start cutting out events. Like, it's massive. It's massive that this is happening. This shouldn't be happening. We should be having a league final like we always should. In May then, so remember how I mentioned about the provincials? They're only going on for 6 weeks. They're only getting 6 weeks action. In May, the provincial finals are going to be happening. So the Ulster Championship, Connacht Championship, Leinster Championship, and Munster Championship are all going to be finished around the same time. I believe it's the Munster final and the Connacht final that are both going to be on the first week of May. And then the second week of May is going to be the Ulster final and the Leinster final, both taking place across that weekend. That's mad how quick that is over, considering that the leagues have only just finished at the start of April. Then we get into the May the 18th. The Tailteann Cup starts then. So May the 18th, the Tailteann Cup starts, and there's 3 weeks to get the Tailteann Cup played and the All-Ireland football qualifiers, which is crazy, again, how packed they're making this. In June, then, the All-Ireland quarterfinals begin, and both hurling provincial finals are going to be played on the same day. And what that means for the Joe McDonagh Cup final, which had always been played as the curtain raiser for the Leinster final, was that now that could potentially be moved as a curtain raiser for the under-20 final, which is absolutely unbelievably disrespectful to these elite players that are playing in the Joe McDonagh Cup final. For me, it's just a joke. Then they get to July. The Tailteann Cup final is booked for either the 15th or the 16th of July. The All-Ireland hurling final then is booked for the 22nd or 23rd of July. And the All-Ireland football final then is booked on the 30th of July. With then week 32 to week 52 going to the club championship action. Now, for me, I like the idea of a split season. I really do. I think it's about time that the club championship got the exposure and recognition that it deserved. But the way that this is all so packed in together, like, I would not blame any inter-county footballer or hurler for saying, nah, I don't really want to play for the county. Why not just play for the club? I mean, look at the exposure that Paul Mannion got when he just played for Crokes. I mean, you'd swear he was still one of the most talked about forwards in the country. So with this absolutely chaotic structure, I can see a lot of players walking away because there's going to be dead rubber matches all over the place here. For me, it's so simple. This would be my proposed structure. Let me know what you think about it. The college tournaments in January and February, and encourage all the college students to take part in these games, to take part in these competitions from January to February. And you're not allowed to play in the league if you are playing in these college tournaments because of fear of injuries. Then the provincials, I would take the provincials completely out of the championship. I would take them and I would put them in March and I would get rid of the leagues. Yep, I said it. I would get rid of the leagues. I think the leagues, in terms of heritage, don't have anywhere near as much as the provincial championship, and I would play the provincials from the end of February until the first week of April, and I would play the provincial championships in a way that teams might be able to get caught. You might be able to catch a Dublin, or you might be able to catch a Kerry if they're coming back at the start of the season. They're not at 100% level yet. We see massive upsets happen in terrible conditions, and that could happen in the provincial championships. The provincial championships now are dead because Dublin, Kerry, they win it every year. And the Ulster Championship really is the only one that keeps it going. So I would move them to March. The league builds in this structure of the best plays the best. And then once you fall to Division 3, Division 4, you just get cut away. I mean, look at Cork. They fell down to Division 3. They haven't been able to get back since. I mean, Derry, yeah, is the anomaly, but once you fall that far down in the Allianz League, it's so hard to get back up to the top again. So I would put the provincials from the last week of February to the first week of April. Then I would have the championship starting in May, and I would have a senior championship, an intermediate championship, and a junior championship from May to the end of July, just like the ladies' championships. Look at what happened with the Meath ladies when they were able to build up through the ranks and feel like they'd earned their shot at the senior championship. Because, for example, Desi Dolan recently hired their Westmeath boss. What's the aim for Westmeath? What is the aim for Westmeath? You think about it, right? He's coming in there. He's got John Keane in the backroom team. Westmeath have just won the Tailteann Cup, so they're not going to be in the Tailteann Cup next year. There's no league finals, so he can't win a league final in Croke Park. They're not going to win the Leinster Championship because Dublin are going to win that. So what's the aim? What's the aim for Desi Dolan? What are they going to come in and do? Hope that they get a few wins in the qualifiers, or hope that they make it to, like, they're not. What's the point? Do you know what I mean? But if they were in an intermediate championship and Dolan was coming in, they'd be going for that and they would have every chance of winning it. You need to make a championship structure where the teams have a chance of winning the competition that they're in, because then they will stay. How many players have left for the AFL, left for Australian rules football, because they feel like they've no chance of winning anything playing with their county? Colin O'Riordan, Zach Toohey, the list goes on. These lads have left because they know we're not going to win in All Ireland. So why would I stay? Why would I not just go to Australia and get paid a lot of money to play what I won't win anything here? Like, that's what I'm saying. So I would definitely have the championship from May to July, senior, intermediate, and junior championship, just like the ladies' game. And then I would have August off and let the players have their holidays, go play football in Chicago. And then September to December would be the club championships for me. Now, whatever, if I may have got something wrong, like if I maybe am a little bit, if I've made a mistake here or there, but I think having looked at the championship, I think that structure would work. That's the structure I would go with. I can't stand the new structure already. I feel like we're going to get a lot of dead rubber games. We're going to have a lot of clashes where we won't be able to watch the main games that we want to watch. And I genuinely feel like the marketing and the money that GAA make is going to take a massive hit this year, because they're literally trying to rush through the best games that we have in the season. It's as if we don't want people to see it. That's my opinion on this. A lot of people have talked about it. It's been all over the place. Yeah, that's my take on it. That's my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It's a very good debate. Let me know what type of championship structure you want. For the record, I think the leagues are a great competition and I have really enjoyed them in the past. But the way that the GAA are piling all these competitions in on top of each other, one does have to go. And the provincial championships, a lot of people will still hold on to them for the sentimental value that they have. I don't think the league has anywhere near the sentimental value that the provincials have. So I would sacrifice the league for a better all-round spread calendar. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And until the next one, take care.